In the top stories, hail hits areas of St. Kitts. Antigua and Barbuda pushes back at critics of Africa-Caribbean Airlink, and more school children use vape pens in Australia. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today's Thursday, the 6th of April 2023. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, residents of certain parts of St. Kitts have been reporting instances of hail mixed with the rain on Thursday morning. Videos have been circulating on social media showing persons in areas such as Sadler's holding up what appear to be hailstones with jagged edges. Senior Meteorological Officer at the St. Kitts Met Office, Elmo Burke, said although not a regular occurrence, it is highly probable for hail to occur, and explained the conditions that may have led to this.
Conditions at the time of the event would have indicated that we would have had quite a bit of thunderstorm activity. Some of the thunderstorm activity was accompanied with moderate to heavy showers at times. Based on those conditions, along with the videos and the eyewitness report, it is highly probable that we would have experienced hail conditions in those communities that would have reported, especially in the Sadler's area. The event is not a regular occurrence. It would have been caused because of the current conditions that we're experiencing, where we have a trough system which is being supported, a surface trough system which is being supported by an upper level trough system as well. So conditions, especially in the northwestern part, would have seen for most of the morning we would have had moderate to heavy showers at times accompanied with thunder and...
He said they expect weather conditions to improve later Thursday afternoon going into Thursday night. However, they will continue to monitor conditions. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration, under the leadership of Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew, continues to implement its general election campaign pledges made in August of 2022. The Labour Party made a commitment to implement a graduate finance project in which the student loan interest rates of the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis would be reduced to 5%, and all student loan holders will receive a $15,000 credit to service their loan at Development Bank. The graduate finance project takes effect today, Thursday, 6th April, under the theme Removing Financial Barriers to Education. This initiative, which was listed among the proposed projects in the Labour Party's post-COVID reset campaign, brings relief to students who were affected by the financial and economic hardships caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The first phase of the GFP offers 5% interest on student loans to new students within the Federation on a maximum of $100,000 EC dollars for a grace period of 4¼ years with a 15-year repayment term. It includes a $15,000 credit to service the student loan during that period, which eliminates the payment of interest for the 4 years, 3-month period. The 5% interest takes effect after that period. A lower interest rate reduces the monthly payments for students required to cover the principal and interest, and with an interest rate of 5% at 10 years and 9 months, which is the remaining period after deducting the 4-year, 3-month from the 15-year repayment term, graduate repayments will range from $1,000 to $1,500 per month under this new policy. Students will now save up to $50,000 or more over the period of the loan. In his statement made on Thursday announcing the new program, Prime Minister Drew stated that the objective is to offer financial relief to graduates to make it easier for them to pursue their life goals.
The reduction of the student loan interest rate to 5%, in addition to the credit offer, will ease the student finance complex. We understand the financial strain that resulted from the COVID-19 pandemic, and therefore, it is our aim to ensure that students who desire to pursue higher education receive the necessary financial support they require. Students return from their studies to high interest rates and terms that delay important life events such as building their own homes or purchasing a vehicle, and so choose to remain at home with their parents to help ease the financial strain they have acquired. It can be challenging for someone to handle both a mortgage repayment and a student loan payment. Having the debt can also make it hard to qualify for a mortgage in the first place. Home ownership is one of the largest builders of wealth, so delaying the purchase of a home can have a major effect on a student borrower's ability to increase his or her wealth.
A lower interest rate reduces the lifetime cost of university studies. And for more information, you can visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis's website at www.skndb.com. In other news, the Ministry of Health and by extension the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis instituted several critical reforms in the healthcare sector aimed at delivering quality, efficiency and excellence. Some of these reforms were highlighted on Wednesday's edition of In Focus by Dr. Jensen Morton, Director of Health Institutions, who noted that the reforms were done in collaboration with the entire health team that was established to take the health sector forward.
The first thing that we thought was really crucial was from the feedback from different members of the general public. The main complaint that seemed to come with regards to healthcare in St. Kitts in general, it can be boiled down to different aspects of customer service. So that was identified early, and we already started partnership with the relevant bodies to get customer service training on board. It started formally, excuse me, it started formally finally a few weeks ago with Mrs. Delcia Bradley King, and it's going to be something that we're going to incorporate into the regular let's call it indoctrination process of everyone that comes to work at JNF. We're also in discussion with CFBC to ensure that that aspect is also included with the nursing training even before you arrive at JNF, such that that aspect is well ingrained.
Dr. Morton added that the customer training sessions will be continuous and will serve as a refresher course because there is, quote, because this is, quote, what we do to ensure that at the end of the day the patients, their relatives, etc. are cared for properly, end quote. Another initiative taken by the Ministry of Health pertained to basic life support and advanced cardiovascular life support training for numerous staff members.
Essentially, the thought process was that if any emergency was to erupt in any part of the health institution, that regardless of the staff member that is present, that they can at least assist with the resuscitation of that patient. That is the end.
Approximately 220 workers have since been trained, some in basic life support, some in advanced cardiovascular life support, and others in pediatric assistance life support.
Since then, we've also been engaging in some subsequent training, leadership training for the nurse managers and assistant nurse managers, leadership training for the physicians, training for all of the clerical staff with regards to having full understanding of all aspects of medical terminology such that everyone's on the same wavelength, whether you come from a science background or not. Excuse me. So those were our investments with regards to different parts of the human resources, because that was something that was really important.
Dr. Morton addressed the assignment of a group of doctors to the Pogson Medical Center in Sandy Point to ensure that a doctor is physically available 24/7 at the medical facility. This measure is also expected to be adopted at the Mary Charles Hospital in Molyneux. Moving now to news on the regional scene. Foreign Affairs Minister in Antigua and Barbuda, Chet Green, is reaffirming the government's plan to push for travel and tourism opportunities between the Caribbean and Africa. The minister says he's both hurt and angry at recent reactions to the West African migrant issue. Ursel Charles Jr. reports.
Establishing linkages between the Caribbean region and the African continent is part of an overall plan. That's according to Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable E.P. Chet Green. He says the overarching plan, though, is much larger than just this country.
We were trying and still have a vision of developing tourism, a vibrant trade, travel trade included, between Africa and the Caribbean. Antigua is only one stop in that Caribbean destination.
Local spotlight on last Tuesday's migrant boat tragedy has renewed focus on migratory patterns, but the minister says migration is but a normal global phenomenon.
The discussion globally now is that people are going to migrate for different reasons other than the economy. You might put it back down to economy in the end, or economics in the end, because things like climate change will force persons to move, albeit temporarily. So when you have persons who depend on farming, for example, and climate change affects them so adversely that they can't eke out a living for themselves and their families, they are going to move.
Green says the politicizing of the issue by many has been disappointing.
Unfortunately, like so many things in the country, it became politicized. It bothers me, it angers me, it hurts me, it troubles me. Because I see Africans as not just people, but as special people. We are quintessentially, predominantly of African stock. And so how can you tell me that we embrace every other race and culture, but when ours arrive, it's a problem?
The minister made the comments on the Beneath the Surface radio program on his With the People FM radio station on Tuesday. For ABS News, I am Ursula Charles.
In St. Lucia, the National Insurance Corporation offices remained closed on Wednesday as staff continued apparent strike action. Negotiations between the NIC and the National Workers Union to address several staff concerns are ongoing. More in this report.
Industrial action at the National Insurance Corporation headed into its second day on Wednesday, April 5th. NIC workers continue to gather outside the headquarters at the Castries waterfront while all branches continue to remain closed due to the lack of staff. The unrest stems from ongoing negotiations between the NIC and the employees' bargaining agent, the National Workers Union. The employees are said to be disgruntled over protracted negotiations on wages and salaries since January 2022, among other issues like additional leave, monetary reward for employees' length of stay, and laundry allowances. The union and the management of the NIC are said to be engaged in talks, and there has been no deadlock in the negotiations, leaving the NIC's management perplexed by the sudden industrial action. The NIC recently revealed that it is mindful of the need to balance the interests of staff with those of NIC contributors. Efforts to contact the NWU on the matter continue to be unsuccessful. For the DBS News World, Jason Darius reporting.
Internationally, teachers and parents are becoming increasingly concerned about vaping in schools, telling researchers vape deals on school grounds are a regular occurrence.